first thing is a stress release worksheet. Some of you may have been to stress management classes. Personally, I don't believe in them. I've been to them. I choose to release the stress. So this handout is a tool you can use over and over again to help you eliminate stress. And if you take time to do it, then take time to think about it. It'll make a big difference for you over time. It's not a one-time fix-all, it's a project. That's why you have holes in it, so you can put in a binder and you can make copies. And you want more copies, this is in the book on page 145 and 146. So, column number 1, the top portion of the left-hand side says, adds life, health, and energy, something that you're doing right now. I would like each of you to take the time right now and list in each category 2 or 3 things you're doing right now for yourself to help yourself be more healthy. For example, mental, emotional, spiritual. Those are divided into those three different areas. Mental is things you do with your brain. It could be reading good things. It could be watching educational or motivating movies. Spiritual, if you're reading the scriptures, saying your prayers, going to the temple, things like that, you're currently doing, and be as specific as you can be. Think of this as like you're getting ready to go into heaven and they want a list of stuff you've been doing. That's good.
You really are prepping us to know.
Yeah. And the second category was structure. At the bottom it lists what those letters mean. Bones, nerves, muscles, joints, ligaments, tendons.
Well, this T-zone is okay?
T-zone is, the use of the T-zone is excellent. Walking tall, sitting balanced, good sleep posture, anything you're doing structurally to enhance yourself. Then chemical. Chemical includes anything you put on or in your body that you feel is improving your health. If you're taking supplements of any kind, you're eating live foods in season, that's what that relates to. Use of those chemicals, anything you're doing now to help the digestive and assimilation of the food you eat, indicate that. If you're taking digestive enzymes, anti-GI, you may be using a limited amount of water with each meal. That's a good thing. That adds life. If you're drinking too much water with the meal, we're going to put on the other side of the page, that subtracts. So it's kind of a teeter-totter.
Have to have balance, right?
It's good. We want balance. Now, after you've completed 2 or 3 things in each category, and number 1, we go to the right-hand side of the page. Category number 2 These are negative things that subtract life, health, and energy. I call them holes in the bucket. You could call them stress of any kind. On that column, I subdivided, separated spiritual, mental, emotional. Keep in mind, these are things that subtract from your life, health, and energy. Can be sins of omission. Like if you're a minister and your life's a minister, that's you're not doing what you should do. That's subtracting from you. If emotionally and mentally, if you hold grudges or have been offended and haven't forgiven,
Which one's that going?
you can put it in any of the three. There's not a right or wrong. You may have the same item listed spiritually, mentally, and emotionally. I recommend you can do that, but I recommend you pick the category that you think it currently is affecting the most. I'd like you to have at least 2 in each of those 3 categories. Then go to structure. Structure includes things you're doing right now, you're doing them, and they're negative. Like yesterday I saw a lady who had, I was checking her ankle, and I said, tell me about your shoes that you wear. She lives on a small farm. She said, oh, I have a pair of cowboy boots that I wear them all the time. But I said, is the heel worn? Yeah, I've had them a long time. So she's walking around with a shoe that's worn. Guess what it's doing to her ankle and her foot and her knee and her hip and her shoulder and her neck? And she knows she should get rid of them. So I gave her a script from the doctor, buy new shoes. If any of you need that, I'd be happy to write. Prescription, tax deductible. I don't know if it's valid or not. Okay. You may have a bad pillow. You may not stand up completely. A lot of people, as they get tired, even young people, when they stand up, they don't get all the way up. That's subtracting from life, health, and energy, because then they walk compromised. And whenever you walk compromised, you do what? You wear out the body faster. You waste energy. You waste energy on muscle, working harder, that could have been spent on healing organ, like pancreas. Poor posture will make diabetes worse. Guaranteed. I think I've told you a story. We have a fellow in our ward who has very poor, a big guy, has very poor posture, leans way forward. And 6 years ago when I met him, I said, you need to correct that. Do whatever you need to do to get up straight. Well, he developed diabetes, and he ended up a couple of years later, he cut off his leg because of poor circulation from the diabetes. Still walking, now he's walking worse because he can't balance like he did. So another year went by, they cut off his other leg at the knee. So guess what? He's in his mid-80s and he's in prison. His body is a prison. He's looking forward to being done because of poor posture and poor chemistry. Now, under chemistry, again, that includes what you put on your body and in your body. If, for example, if you have a favorite toothpaste or hair shampoo or laundry soap or dish soap, and you always use the same brand, that's a stress to you. You should rotate. Rotate, rotate, rotate. See, when God designed our earth and food from natural sources like a garden, we have seasonal foods intentionally so that the body doesn't get a restaurant menu. A lot of homes have what I call a restaurant menu. You get low on something, you buy it. You get low on something else, you replace it. See, if I go to your home any time of the year, I get basically the same thing. That's not good. Good is rotating. Again, you saw, if you're drinking too much water with a meal, that's subtracting life from you. If you are eating too much volume, I'll give you an example, and you know these people. They live on a farm, they have all natural organic food. When they first came to see me, mom and dad and 2 kids, I looked at the tongue and the frenula and said they all had major digestive issues. Kind of surprised me. So I said, okay, let's get right to the bottom of this quick. What do you eat? They told me. When do you eat? They eat 1 meal a day. A lot of food. So the food was perfect quality, too much quantity at one time. So we take the same food, divide it into 3 meals, give them some supplements to help them digest, and give them some supplements to help strengthen the gut, and now they're fine. They're healthier, they have more energy, and they're eating less food than they were before and have more energy. So technically, they get in more miles per gallon. The grocery bill went down. Chemical coming out of your body. If you're not having a good bowel movement every day, or a cleanse every day with an enema, then you're backing up. And the toxins in the body will recycle. You can tell if they recycle by looking underneath your tongue at the liver lines. You can tell if you have enough water in your system by looking at your tongue, the sides of the tongue. If the sides of the tongue have waves in them, you're retaining water. If you ever retain water, you need more water. Sometimes the doctors will tell you, I had a lady yesterday from Rexburg, her doctors told her to limit the amount of water she has and put her on a diuretic, both. Limit intake and diuretic. And her ankles were huge. Why? She's retaining water. Why? She needs water. She needs to do exactly the opposite. She needs to flush it in to help clean out her body. It's having a major negative effect on her heart. Okay, now, you've listed a couple of things on the negative side. Next step, pick something easy to change, to fix, to eliminate, to do away with on the negative side, and circle it. One easy thing. You got it? You got it? Okay, now go to number 3. Forget 1 and 2, go to 3. On number 3, list in each category at least 2 or 3 things that you know you should do and you're not. you would like to do, but you haven't started.
Is that related to the one we circled, or just,
No, not yet.
okay,
It's all, it said forget number one and number two. Forget what you wrote here, forget here, the things you want to do. It could be like being nice to your spouse.
So we can-
And then show it to our husbands.
Buy more shoes. In each category, write down 2 or 3 things. Now, this technique that I'm teaching you today, or reviewing it, you've had this before, works. It only works if you take the time to do it. And I guarantee it's worth the time to do. Now, the next step is on category 3, pick one of those things that you want to do, aren't doing. It would be very easy just to start this week. Circle it. Does that make sense? In category 3, you're going to start doing something different. Now, in my language, the things in category 2 are holes in your bucket. They're draining you. Common things that I see often with people I work with, or simple things like going to bed late, inadequate water intake, excess food volume, holding grudges, recycling bad memories. Those are very common. Okay, now, in category 2, you circled something that's easy to stop. Category 3, something that's easy to start. Think of it this way. My wife has a beautiful flower garden. Every once in a while, a weed pops up. And she says, I don't know where it came from, but was there yesterday? It says so. So she has a friend at the nursery. She pulled the weed out and planted a flower. That's what we're doing here. We're weeding the garden and we're planting flowers. If any of you are interested, you can look in our backyard. We have a lot of flowers and not many weeds. Okay, now on the line that you drew connecting, whatever you circled in box 2 with box 3, put the number 1. That's the first step. Then when the flower is finally growing and it's working, you stop, you started, you have a new pattern. You then go back to the sheet. You look at the sheet, you may have picked up some more bad habits that go on this side. You may have learned some new things to do to help you that will go over here. Write them down, look at your sheet, and do line number 2. New circle, new connection, line number 2. When that's done, you do it again. Then you do it again. After you've done it about 4 or 5 times, then you can go back to your sheet. Now that you're doing the new things over here, you can move them up. because do things now that you weren't before. And when the sheet gets messy, you start a new sheet. And you do it over and over again. Okay? I gave you a true story of a friend I had in Colorado Springs. At the end of the class one time when we did this, he said, look at my sheet and tell me what you think. And he had smoking on one of his categories. And he pointed to that and said, my wife's been handing me for a long time to quit smoking. I said, do you like to smoke? He said, I do. I do. I have a hard job, I have a lot of stress, and smoking gives me some relief. How much are you smoking? Oh, about 2 or 3 packs a day. I looked at his sheet and it said, well, keep smoking. You're not ready. You're too weak. You have too much stress. You have too many things over here, not enough things up here. Said you need to work on this for a while. So about a year later, they came to me and said, I've been doing what you told me, and I think I'm ready. I said, how much do you smoke now? He said, I still enjoy it, and I'm doing about a pack a day. I said, when would you like to quit? He said, how about today? I said, good. So he gave me cigarettes. He gives them to me and I smoke them.
Just to find out what he was enjoying.
Took the stress off.
I didn't smoke them. I was proud of him, and he never smoked. He quit because now he was strong enough. So some of the things over here, some of the mental, emotional stress we have, you may not ever be rid of, because some of them you may not. You may have a grudge against the government. You may have married the wrong person. And you're stuck. Maybe. Unless you have a gun. No. Just kidding. So that's a tool. Okay?
Every time I think I married the wrong person, I take an inward glance at myself to find out why. And I find out it's my problem, not his.
You know, yesterday in class, somebody's made a comment similar to that. She said something like, God gave me that person because I needed to develop the qualities to deal